What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Heat Seekers. In this video we're going to make some pulled pork on the smoker. Let's go. Alright, so here's what we're using. Got Whitlock & Sons Chipotle barbecue sauce. You got beef premium beef rub. It says beef rub, but it pretty much goes on just about everything. Basting brush and salt. Now, the cut of meat I've decided to use is a pork collar butt. Done one of these ones before and they came out super juicy. I'm going to start with salt. That'll draw some of the moisture out. I want to be fairly generous with the salt. Both sides, use some of the excess to coat the sides. Alright, on to the meat rub. Now this should give it a really nice bark, crusty, crunchy bark. So we're going to be super generous with this. Really lather it on there. Pack it in. Get those ends. Flip her over. Gotta make sure you get the sides too. They turn out to be some of the best bits. Use all the excess that's on the left around in the tray to coat the edges and the ends. Make sure it's got a nice thick coating. Alright, next up we're going to add some of the barbecue sauce. Now this is Whitlock & Sons Chipotle barbecue sauce. It's quite sweet, a little tangy, a little bit of a spice, nothing too much. The kids will be eating this too, so we need to cater for everyone. At the end, I will dress up this sauce with a little bit of hot sauce, but I'll explain that shortly. And I'll put the kids some aside, because they like a little bit of spice, but not too much. I'm just going to drizzle that on there. Not too much at this stage. I find if you drowned it, it's probably going to, as it cooks, drip some of the rub off, and we really want that rub in there. We are ready to go on the smoker. Alright, smoker's fired up. Got a little bit of water in the tray in the bottom. That's just going to help keep the pork nice and moist and not dry out, because the moister the better when we're talking about brisket. So that's going on in the foil tray. We'll try and catch some of the juice as we go. That'll just help us out with at the end. Lid goes on. Alright, that's on. It's 1:30 in the afternoon now. That's going to sit and cook low and slow for 5 to 6 hours around about. We'll check on it in about an hour and a half just to see how it's going. About 3 hours in, we'll flip it over, and then at the end we'll mix some of that sauce through the pork once it's all been pulled apart. Alright, so we're about 1 hour in. Let's take a bit of a look, see how we're looking. That's looking really good. Starting to form some juices. We may crank up the heat a little bit. We're opening up the valve, and we're going to chuck on a few more smoking chips. Alright guys, so when I'm smoking any type of meat, from beef, pork, chicken, I find that these Samba smoking chunks are just a good all round. Like, there are better, like hickory is probably one of the best ones, but when we're talking just to keep on hand so you can just use it for whatever you're cooking at that time, sambar's the way to go. Alright, it's been 2 hours, let's see where we're at. That looks amazing. I think maybe it's time we flip this bad boy over. As best we can, without losing it. Beautiful. Still super juicy. We're still about maybe 3 to 4 hours in there. I've got some water in there, so that's keeping it moist. But it's looking good. Alright, next stage. We're going to wrap this in foil and let it rest for probably nearly an hour. Just letting any of the last little bits of fat render out, and it helps with the process of keeping it nice and tender. Slight underestimation in the oil required. Alright, this will sit on the bench now for nearly an hour. Once we're done, I'll come back to you. Alright, time to unwrap this sucker. Been resting for like an hour. Almost an hour. It's like Christmas. Ooh, looks good. Fairly tender, maybe not as tender as I was hoping. Got that juice in there. Okay, last step in the process. Cover it in the Whitlock's Chipotle barbecue. Done. Chipotle barbecue, pulled pork and coleslaw slider. So only one thing left to do, and that's the taste test. So good. Tiny little bit of spice, lots of barbecue. Coleslaw is a perfect match. Perfect. I think the next one's going to be jalapeno poppers, one of my favorites. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, tell your friends if you want to. I'm Kieran and this has been a Heat Seekers barbecue video. Thanks for watching.